Good evening, Fernwood. It is your potentially electable pal Neil here, and it's time for us to put in a vote with another episode of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. Today we are starting week 6 of season 2. That's episode 156 from November 8th, 1976. We have a lot to talk about that happened last week, so let us do that thing because it is Mary Hartman Homecoming Day. It's election day, and also we're still celebrating the American bicentennial. Mary Hartman has returned home from the mental ward, and we have storylines for just about everyone. Kathy's pregnant, and she does not know who the father is, so she's considering her options. Martha is hopeful that George, who disappeared mysteriously before the start of season 2, will be found by Jack and Jill, two ufologists who are asking for $3,000. Loretta has been emotionally supporting Charlie through his depression since he lost a testicle at the end of season 1. Charlie called out to a doctor who wants to transplant a new one. Charlie then ran into Jody Troxell, an old racing buddy, and Charlie gets the idea that he should put Jody back on the road. Merle Jeter has been getting political encouragement from Wanda Rittenhouse and also some chemistry. Nurse Gimble introduced her husband Garth, who is a slick publicity man. Garth and Nurse Gimble have trouble explaining the mysterious injuries that Nurse Gimble has been accumulating. After Mary left the mental ward, Chester hinted to new patient Mona McKenzie, the former sex therapist, that he was planning to level Ohio, but then he figured out that his lunchbox had been switched with Heather's, and he discovered that Mary Hartman was planning to bury his lunchbox in the Mary Hartman Memorial time capsule. And finally, back at the Hartman residence, things are back to normal. Tom's new friend, Annie Wiley, has been parking her recreational vehicle in the Hartman driveway, and Mary has been feeling protective and territorial about Tom. That's all of the recapping I've got to do for last week. Let's see if they find out who the president is going to be.
Mary Hartman! Mary Hartman! It certainly was nice that you stopped by, Detective Johnson, to see how I was.
I want you to know that if there's anything I can do to help, I'll be glad to. Just let me know.
Oh, I wish you could find George.
I know. Down at the department, we're using everything at our disposal on the case. But meanwhile, I hope you'll feel free to call on me anytime for anything.
Oh, you are a fine man to make an offer like that. But I just couldn't impose any more on your time. After all, you must have a personal life.
Not really. I live alone.
Oh, well, do you like mayonnaise?
I take my work as a public servant very seriously. My home life is secluded, being a detective, you know. What kind of a sandwich is it?
That's right. You are a public servant, aren't you? Just like Beretta. Bologna?
Yes, paid by your tax dollars. But, you know, I don't get to meet too many people except murderers, robbers, kidnappers, arsonists, and that type. Mayonnaise and just a little peanut butter, please.
My tax dollars? Oh, I only wish I had an income to pay tax dollars on with George away. I just don't know what I'm going to do. I'm flat broke, and Kathy can't work, and with her medical bills and other things. What'll I do?
Martha, in times of crisis, there is strength in numbers.
But I thought gambling was illegal.
You and me, those kind of numbers.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wouldn't ordinarily discuss this kind of thing with strangers, but after you said what you did, you see, I thought maybe last year's taxes could be considered as covering it.
Believe me, they do. But please don't think of me as a stranger. I'd like to be your friend, not just your detective. Now I'll think over what you said and see if I can come up with any new ideas.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I better go to work.
Mm-hmm. Oh, now don't forget your lunch. Yes, a wee bit of peanut butter and a little mayonnaise. And, oh, what would you like for dessert? Twinkies or a ding-dong?
Oh, both, please, if that's all right.
Yes, I guess you can handle both. Well, here we are. Now, here's the bag. And, oh, a ding-dong and a Twinkie. And have a nice day.
Thank you, Martha. And I hope next time you'll let me provide you with a nice meal. I know a great Italian restaurant.
Oh, you're a very nice man, almost as nice as Telly Savalas. But after all, I'm not your only public.
You are one of the nicest, though. Bye now.
Who's been eating my peanut butter?
Oh, Detective Johnson wanted some on his bologna sandwich.
Well, that's a real man's meal. What was that goop that George used to like?
Sardines and cream cheese. Oh, Pa, I can barely afford to keep you in peanut butter. How am I going to get the money that Jack and Jill need to bring George back?
Why don't you stop worrying about that and concentrate on the peanut butter problem? I can't believe that anyone in their right mind would even consider paying good money to see George Shumway again, anyhow.
Oh, Pa, I'm not in my right mind. I am worried sick. I want George back.
Ma, I got a letter from Dennis.
Oh, Dennis? Oh, that's wonderful. What did he say?
Well, I haven't read it yet, but I'm sure it's about the baby.
Which one was Dennis?
The policeman.
For a family that spends so much time with lawmen, it's a wonder to me that there's so little order in our lives.
Oh, what is it, dear?
Dear Kathy, it was very nice to hear from you. You were lucky to catch me since I'm about to leave the country for a while. I'm joining a small band of mercenary soldiers on the border of Uganda. I'm not quite sure who we're going to be fighting for, but it sounds like a fun adventure either way. Congratulations on your forthcoming motherhood. I wish that I could be there now, but I really do have to be in Africa by the end of the week. Also, in case there's any question in your mind, the baby couldn't possibly be mine because I had a vasectomy the day I got my police badge.
Now, there's a sensible young man. They never pin anything on him like I saw on Police Story, where a cop was charged with having relations with female law enforcers.
You know, Paul, I saw a different one where this police officer was charged with molesting a woman prisoner and getting her pregnant, but he got off because he said he had a vasectomy too. Do all policemen have vasectomies?
No. Look at all the handsome sons Lloyd Bridges has.
Oh, but they're actors, Paul. They're not really policemen.
Will you both just stop it, please? Don't you understand? I can't find a father for my baby. It can't be Dennis's. And Larry's own mother doesn't even know where he is. And Cleet doesn't want it. And I just got the letter back that I wrote to Steve. It says return to sender, address unknown. I'll never find a father for my baby.
Oh, that's all right, dear. Everything will be all right. Something will come up.
Something already has.
See? I told you it would.
That was fast.
I'm going to accept Dr. Furman's offer.
You're going to put your baby up for adoption? Oh, but what if your daddy doesn't come home for a few months? He will have never seen his grandchild because you will have given it away.
There's nothing else I can do. We can't afford to wait for Daddy. And the doctors will pay for everything throughout the pregnancy.
Oh, we'll get along somehow.
How? Don't you see, this will be much easier. And Dr. Furman also has arranged it so that we also get a little money so the three of us can live on.
You're going to sell your baby? How can you think of such a thing? That's my grandchild.
Grandpa, look, I don't have a father for my baby. And I don't even have a father of my own. And besides, it's not even your real grandchild because you adopted Ma. But you were a good parent.
You can be a good parent, too. You can't sell that child. I may be no blood relative to anybody, but I feel like it. And for everyone's sake, I don't want you to sell that baby.
Oh, Grandpa, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you or anything, but there's nothing else we can do. I mean, we do need the money.
Oh, yes, we do need the money. Maybe I could sell some of my plants. No, they're too much like children.
Was that a happy one? Huh?
A happy?
Yeah.
Can't you tell?
Huh? What do you think? Huh?
I don't know. But you can tell. I can tell you can tell.
You're so good, you know that?
Yeah? You mean my technique?
No, not just your technique. I mean, that's the point. I mean, it's you, just you.
Oh, Tom. It's you too. Tom.
What?
The test patterns on the television, you hear it?
Oh, yeah, the hum.
Do you realize what that means?
That means that we missed the Star-Spangled Banner.
I wonder why. Oh, my God.
What?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry.
What?
It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm sorry. I really am.
Oh, my God.
I'm sorry. You're going to be so tired.
Oh, no, that's all right. Listen, Annie goes without eating, right?
Well, I did finally offer an egg.
No, I mean fasting.
She doesn't need to diet. And crash diets are very bad for you, especially if you lose weight.
Well, she claims that, not eating a couple of days a month, it just, cleans out her system.
Why are we talking about her? I can't remember.
Well, fasting, She doesn't eat, and she doesn't get hungry, and we're not sleeping, and we're not getting tired. See?
So?
So? You asked me about getting tired, honey.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, right. And then you brought up about Annie.
Hey, wait. Oh, my God, are you jealous? You're not jealous, are you? You don't have you have no reason to be jealous. You know that, don't you?
No, I'm not jealous. I know, I'm really not jealous. I mean, she and I are very different from each other, Tom. She's much more like you than I am. She knows about camping. All I know about is you. Oh. Do you realize that, Tom? That all I know about is you? And here you are, and you're still talking and touching me and
kissing.
Oh, kissing. Oh, Tom. This is just everything I've ever wanted. Even if you did learn it from another woman. Would you like some coffee, Tippy Toes?
Call me Annie.
Oh, thank you. No.
Well, I'm not much of a coffee drinker. In fact, I brought my own jasmine tea with me. You look a little tired.
Oh, well, I had a very long night. That smells nice. It really does. Not something I'd like to drink. More something I'd like to make a sachet out of for one of my drawers. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I guess it is kind of an acquired taste.
Acquired taste. Acquired taste. You seem to have a lot of those, don't you? That's interesting. That is really interesting. You have a lot, in fact, a very interesting interest, don't you? I mean, you are interesting, and I find you interesting. You must find yourself interesting, don't you? I mean, now, that really is true about you. Tom finds you interesting. You know, even Heather finds you interesting. And that's an amazing thing because you know how difficult it is to get Heather interested in anything. I mean, I tried to get her interested in an article in the Reader's Digest, and she said that she preferred more condensed material.
Well, I'm just, like you say, I mean, I'm different from what she's used to, that's all. Mary, does it bother you that Tom and I have become friends?
Bother me? No. It interests me. I find that I am very interested in your friendship with Tom. Very. Now, it's possible that this would have bothered me at some time in my life, but now it certainly doesn't bother me because I myself recently have had my own friendship with a person, Gore Vidal, in fact. And I found that in this friendship, I found a whole new area opened up for me. I found that it was possible for a mature man and woman to have a kind of intellectual friendship, you know, that doesn't have anything to do with marriage or, you know, the other stuff that, you know, people do. Gore, of course, has left town.
Mary, I know what you're going through. Really, I do. I've been doing some thinking, and, well, maybe it's time I hit the road again.
Oh, Tippy Toes. Oh, I really hope it isn't anything I've said. I really do, because, I mean, you know, from everything, you know, I mean, we really, the whole family, everyone just finds you just so interesting. But, I mean, I must say, if you feel the need, you know, yourself to move on, I personally must say to you, you know, give it a try. I mean, if you want, I even happen to have, you know, a spare map of the Fernwood area around the house, if that might help. Or...
Thanks. I'm kind of used to, feeling my way around in and out of places, and maps are too restricting for me. Well, I'll go start getting my things together, and then, after a while, when Tom comes home, well, I'll tell him that I've decided to get rolling. Is that okay?
Oh, that's great. That's really great. Listen, I'll see you later. Tippy Toes, thanks for everything. Gee, it's too bad she's leaving. Except for her appeal to Tom, she is such a terrifically interesting person. I mean, really interesting. Hi, Grandpa.
Mary, something terrible is about to happen. Your sister's about to sell your niece or your nephew. She's arranging with that slimy Dr. Hartman to give it away for money.
For money? Why?
Well, because she's given up hope of finding a father for it, and she's worried about money with your father gone. Trust George to ruin up my supreme happiness in his disappearance by leaving us without 5 cents.
Oh, Grandpa, look, I don't think this is Daddy's fault. You mean Kathy is really considering selling her baby? Grandpa, I don't want you to worry about a thing. I will take care of everything, I promise you. Selling my niece or nephew? Never.
Oh, thank goodness. Mary, we're very lucky.
How is that?
Lucky that they left you out of the loony bin just in time to avert a family crisis.
Thanks, Grandpa. I'm sure that I can figure out a way to save Kathy's baby. After all, I did save Ohio.
So what you're trying to say is that people, that you've lined up a couple who wants to pay and pay well for a white baby, right?
And in return for this sacrifice that they know you're making, and for which they'll be very grateful for, they're willing to pay you a certain sum of money.
How much?
$10,000.
How did they come up with that amount?
Well, you know, as strange as it seems, it's been estimated that at his or her death, the average American is worth just about $10,000. So that seemed a fair price a recompense for a child.
The price of life, $10,000. And you, my dear doctor, how much are you getting out of this?
Well, naturally, for the time and the genuine effort I make in matching up the couple with the right baby.
How can you match up? I mean, the baby's not even born yet.
Yeah, but I know you. And, you know, I'm sure the father was...
How can you be sure of the father? I'm not.
Well, at any rate, I receive a token fee for seeing to all the arrangements.
$20,000 in cash in advance.
10 at advance, 10 at birth.
You're on.
Okay. So just sign here. Everything will be taken care of, you, throughout your term and delivery, and, of course, the child thereafter. Over here.
Barry! I have fantastic news.
What? Oh, what?
Now,
What?
remember, when Tippy Toe suggested that I suggest to my boss that he advertise motorhomes on local TV, you remember that?
Yeah, well, I remember some of it. I don't remember all of it.
Well, he bought it. He bought my idea. He bought it. He bought it.
Oh, Tom.
Well, my idea that Tippy
wonderful.
Toes gave me, of course. You know, she gave it to me. Now he is going to advertise on local TV, you know. Now, here comes the really, really good part.
Maybe I better sit down for this, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
He wants me to be the TV spokesman. And he's going to pay for it, even though I offered to pay for it out of my own commissions.
Oh, Tom.
Yeah. Isn't that wonderful?
A TV spokesman?
Yeah. And because I sell more RVs than all the other salesmen combined, he wants me to write it. Because he says, you know, something out of my own natural style and charm. That's what he said, of course.
Huh. No, I'm sorry, I don't know what to say. It's just very hard for me to picture you as a television commercial.
I'll get it. Ah, Tippy
Hi, Tom.
Toes.
I didn't know you were home.
Hi.
Oh, Mary, I wondered if I could use the phone. I was going over to Martha's, but Kathy has some friends over, some company, I don't know, upperclassers, and, well, I didn't want to intrude. My John's stuck. It's actually that the bathrooms isn't
Funked.
Isn't functioning.
Right, hey, listen, I got something to tell you. Tippy Toes,
Yeah?
I got my boss to advertise on TV, and he wants me to be the spokesman. And I owe it all to you.
Oh, you don't owe it to me at all. I just gave you the idea. Ideas are cheap. It's the people that make things happen. Those are the ones that should be praised.
Well,
That's what I said, Tippy Toes.
hey, wait a minute. I got an idea. I just got an idea. It's a great idea. I want you and Heather to do it with me. The commercial. I mean, what better way to sell RVs than to have one's own family with them, huh? I mean, everybody wants to see a happy motorhome family, right?
Oh, so you mean like not only would you be the RV salesman, but it would be like you would be the owner, too, or at least people would think that, right?
Right.
You mean like you would say, oh, and this is my wife, Mary, in our RV kitchen?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you mean in like I know, I could say, hi,
Good.
I'm Mary. Now, I've always been stuck in a kitchen in one place all my life, but because my husband Tom has this fantastic RV, I'm still stuck in a kitchen, but now I get to move around. Oh, and this is our daughter Heather in her RV playpen,
Right.
and she's already 13.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
They're just packing it in, man. There's just so much. And it starts with a family we haven't seen as much, the Shumways. That's Martha and, I mean, Detective Johnson is not a Shumway, but he wants to be. You know, Detective Johnson in the first season was incompetent at best, and he definitely does not come off like any detective I've ever met or watched. But he's very sweet, and I appreciate the attention he's giving, although it's somewhat inappropriate. It does seem kind-hearted, at least. Martha very clearly misses George, and she's flattered by the attention that she's getting. She seems to be responding to it to a certain extent. She makes a sandwich for him with bologna and peanut butter and mayonnaise. That's a combo. But immediately after Detective Johnson leaves, Martha just is really sad. And then Grandpa Larkin and Kathy come in, and Kathy is thinking that her best choice is adoption, and it might be. And I don't know about the ethics of adoption. I've never considered. I always just thought they should pay a person who is giving up their baby, you know, in this case. And I don't know if it, I don't know that I see it as selling the baby, but that's definitely the point of view that the characters on the show have. And I think in some ways that's what the show is presenting. And maybe I'm wrong, but please fill me in if you have any understanding of giving up an unborn baby for adoption. You know, I just don't have a perspective on it, and I don't know. It means money for the family because they don't have it, and babies are expensive. So do you consider this to be selling a baby, or is it the right thing to do for a woman who is making a big sacrifice? Help me out here, because I don't know. I just don't know. Then Tom and Mary getting hot in bed, and good to see, because that first season was frustrating. Even when they were in bed together, it was just like there was something wrong about it in some ways. Yes, it's nice to see a married couple like having affection for each other, but it never felt that way in season 1, and now it does. There's a seed of jealousy that Mary continues to deny. That seed is covered over. You know, they definitely are still digging the sex, but that's certainly a big issue in their relationship. And I guess we'll see next when Mary and Tippy Toes have their talk. And jasmine tea is not that acquired a taste. I mean, in the 1970s perhaps it was, but Annie is picking up on Mary's vibe, and it's clear that Mary does have jealousy and does feel protective and does feel territorial, and Mary wants to deny that, but how can you? Why should you deny your feelings? Like, yes, you should be kind to a person, but hey, you, Mary, do have feelings that are negative. And last season was all about Mary hiding her emotions. But Tippy Toes makes the call to move. Of course, she hasn't moved, and we'll see what happens there later. Then Kathy negotiates her deal with Dr. Furman and puts things on paper, and in the next scene, we'll hear that there are some fancy types showing up at the Shumways. So that is something that we'll see, because it is a big deal. Now, like I said, I don't know how to talk about adoption, but it sounds like this is going to be a really heartbreaking story, and that's where I am just a bit nervous. Speaking of nervous, Tom comes in and is very excited. He's not nervous, but Mary is. Mary seems to be not supportive of Tom in this thing that is very exciting to Tom, and that's disappointing. I wish that Mary could be supportive of Tom. Tom, I think, has been more or less supportive of Mary, other than thinking that she was delusional about the nuclear device. But Tom is legit excited about this thing, and the person who is more supportive of Tom is Tippy Toes in this case. I know, Annie, I just like calling her Tippy Toes, but Mary is at best tentative, and that's, like I said, it's disappointing. You know, I don't understand why she would be tentative at this point. You know, please support your partner. First of all, wait a second, I forgot to mention that Tom did give a kiss on the lips to Annie for giving him the idea, but then he gets a more inclusive idea to his family. He wanted to include his family in the commercial, and Mary, it seemed like Mary was mocking it. Maybe not, because Mary is odd, but it did feel like Mary was mocking the idea of this commercial, and that is where we end the episode. So that, everyone, is the start of week 6 of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. And my heart, man. That's all I've got to say. Please do your sharing of the thoughts down in the comments, because, you know, I like to hear what you got to say, and I like to respond to those thoughts and impressions. Do what you do, though. Thanks for watching, and we will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.